Delayed long enough. We'll go ahead and start. You ready, Coach? Real quickly before I turn it over to Coach, same time next week, same place, 11:30 here. So I'd like to see you guys again. First win over Big 12 opponent in 15 tries for Arkansas State. Looking for their first 2-0 start since 1986 and first time as a Division I A member. So I'll just turn it over to Coach.
Thank you, Jerry. Obviously proud to get that win last week. Being undefeated after your first ball game is something we haven't experienced but a couple of times. Very excited about that. Matter of fact, all the Red Wolf teams are undefeated. We're 7-0 right now as Red Wolves. Soccer team is 2-0, volleyball is 4-0, and we're 1-0. So great start to the Red Wolf era. Proud of our football team for our accomplishments last week. We have to make sure that we take that for what it is. It's a great win. It's something that we can build off of, but it's not the destination or where we hope to end up at the end of the season, with that being a defining moment for the 2008 season. The good news is we won the ball game. The best news is we didn't play as well as we're capable of playing. We had a lot of areas that, as you go back and look at film, where we can play a lot better. I'm excited about that, and I'm excited about the potential improvement of this football team. Everybody knows on our football team about Appalachian State beating Michigan last year. Quickly pointed out to them in our Sunday meeting that just a couple of weeks later, Appalachian State lost to Wofford, and we don't want to be the team that is remembered for beating Texas A&M and then losing games we shouldn't lose. So I'm excited about this weekend. Obviously, the home opener. Playing Texas Southern. Texas Southern is an outstanding football team, coming in with very good players. Bobby Reed, their quarterback, is a guy that's beaten us before. Big, strong, physical, has a great arm, can beat you running the football or throwing the football. Got a great tailback and a great wide receiver / punt return guy that is very, very talented. Defensively, they'll do a lot of different things to make us have to adjust. They take a lot of chances defensively. Their whole philosophy defensively is try to create a negative play, and if we can have the right play called, then we're going to have some positive plays. If not, we've got to be able to beat numbers, because they'll overload you at times and not show that till it's too late. So have our work cut out for us. We're looking forward to getting back out on the field and trying to see if we can improve as a football team.
Any Dumb and Dumber references this week, Coach?
Did I use any dumber?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. So you're saying there's a chance. Yeah, I remember that. No Dumb and Dumber references this week.
Coach, last week I asked you about David versus Goliath, and you said it wasn't like that, and obviously you guys proved that. Talk about that feeling of finally breaking through, because for the last few years you've got to have a chance to beat these bigger schools.
Well, as we were walking across the field to shake hands at the end of the game, one of my close friends who is with us on the sideline said, "Thanks, Coach, dreams come true." And I looked him square in the eye and said, "You know, this isn't a dream. You know, this is reality. We earned this. We worked for this. This is who we are." And you know, I don't want our players thinking that that was a huge upset. I want them to enjoy it and to cherish the memory of winning it. But I want them to know that they earned it. They worked for it through their off season, through their commitment to doing things right in our program from an academic standpoint, to off the field, to what they do through their preparation to win football games. It wasn't a fluke. We won the football game.
Does this make your job more difficult to keep them focused?
Yeah, you know, with coaches, it's real easy. As soon as you turn on the film for your next opponent, you move forward. But for a 17, 18, 19-year-old young man, sometimes they get a little full of themselves after success. And one of our coaches found an NFL study that was done just a couple of years ago that charted people's levels of improvement and their rate of productivity, and they found that after failure people usually become more productive, but after success they become less productive. Matter of fact, 9 out of 10 people, 9 out of 10 NFL players actually improved after failure, where only 1 out of 10 was more productive after success. So we've tried everything in our power to make sure that they're grounded. Obviously, they're getting a lot of congratulatory remarks, you know, on campus, and that stuff, and all that's great. But it has to be used as a building block, you know, not an end of the road destination.
How are you using the excitement that came from winning the Kyle Field towards Texas Southern this week?
Well, hopefully, two ways. One is we want that to internally be a confidence builder. And externally, we want that win to change the perception of our program. And the only way we do that is to continue playing the way we were capable of playing and winning games. So hopefully that excitement from that win will carry over both internally and externally in our program.
It's been a little strange, obviously, going from Indians to Red Wolves. Does this win kind of mean like, it was right?
Well, no, I don't think that has a whole lot to do with it. You know, that'd be like wearing lucky underwear or something like that. I don't believe in that. I believe that your success comes from a process that you put in place, and the more you work at that process, the more successful you're going to be.
What did you think of the play of your offensive line?
It was good. After watching the film, it wasn't near as good as what I had thought during the course of the game. I'm proud of them. They went out, they played extremely hard. They gave great effort throughout the course of the ball game. I thought they communicated fairly well during the course of the game. Didn't play as well as I'd hoped that they had played after the game. Probably exceeded our expectations going into the game, but after you win the game, you think that everybody played better than they did, and that wasn't the case.
How's your team done coming off big wins the last couple of years? I mean, with, a
fairly
couple
well.
against Memphis like last year's.
Fairly well. I hadn't looked back to that and charted that or tried to figure that out, but I don't know how it can be a negative if you continue to practice the way we have practiced this week and continue to have that focus on becoming who you can become as a football team.
How's the confidence level of this team after a win like that?
Well, it's high, you know, but I think it was high going into the season. I think this may have confirmed their belief in the fact that they can be a good football team. I don't think our confidence was low by any stretch of the imagination going into the game.
You think the Texas performance last year played into that confidence this year going into a Big 12?
Yeah, possibly. Yeah, I think the experience of that ball game probably more than from a confidence standpoint. We had several plays in that ball game with greater experience we hoped we wouldn't make, and we didn't make. You look at two key positions, quarterback and kicker, and we talked about that last week. Last year, Josh is full-time, you know, in his role as a field goal kicker, and you know, he was 2 for 4 at Texas, and this week, this past week, he was 4 for 4 at A&M, and obviously proved to be the difference. Corey got in the red zone last year a couple of times, threw an interception, and had a couple of negative plays. And then this week, you know, this past week, we were 5 for 5 in the red zone. So I was proud of you know, carrying that experience carrying over to actual game time.
When you looked at the film, what does your team need to work on to reach that goal of winning the Sun Belt?
Everything. We've got to get better at every position. Reggie had a great game running the football. Still needs to work at several of the small, lesser seen things, I guess, by the fan. Pass protection, great routes, that type of stuff. Corey had a couple of situations where, you know, he could have performed a little better. Offensive line, just overall playing together as a team within a team better. I thought we played well at tight end, but we can be more consistent at tight end. Dropped a couple of balls at wide receiver that you know, may have been tough catches, but we got to make some tough catches. In the secondary, I thought we were a little too soft at times until we made some adjustments. Linebacker, we didn't fit upright all the time. The defensive line, and we lost our gap a few times during the game. So all across the board, I think we could improve. Special teams area, statistically, it looked pretty good. Our punt coverage was not what it needs to be, although it worked out well. We had a few guys out of their lanes in punt coverage, just overzealous, trying to make plays, not doing what they're taught to do and how they're supposed to do. So there's a lot of things that we can improve on as a team.
What was your feeling once you knew you had the game in hand?
Well, I didn't know that until 7 seconds to go. And you know, at that point, relief, you know, you start thinking about what you're going to say you know, to the other team, what you're going to say to your team, you know, what your reaction is going to be. But I guess the overall feeling was just relief that, hey, we've got this in the bag, we just have to take a knee. And by the way, Corey lost 5 yards on taking a knee from our total offense. So we actually had 420 yards, and he lost 5 yards on taking a knee, which we teach him to do when we're trying to milk the clock, but not, when we just have 7 seconds and they don't have any timeouts.
Coach, you're now 18-8 in Arkansas State in games that decided by 7 points or less. What does it take to get a team to be that successful in the fourth quarter?
I don't know. Just I guess our overall philosophy of how we play the game with passion, and we're a team that obviously needs things to happen good for us early in the game and early in each half in order for us to play with the confidence that we should play with.
And also in the game, basically defense cut Texas A&M's offensive production in half in the second half. What's the difference?
Well, the adjustments that we were able to make at halftime. And I told y'all this last week. We had an idea of what we were going to see from the Green Bay Packer tape and the Houston Texans tape. But obviously we hadn't seen anything from A&M with that staff at A&M. And they did some things differently that we weren't expecting them to do. Getting in a lot of close formations, cracking with the tight end who was split out and the wide receiver, pulling a 6'8" tackle on a 5'10" cornerback. Those types of things that you don't expect to see, or we didn't see early from the film study, and just changing the way we set the edge and how we supported the runs with the outside linebackers and the corners and safeties. And still trying to be sound doing that on the play action stuff. So I thought our coaches at halftime did a great job of making those adjustments, and our players went out and executed them.
Were there any newcomers or second guys that played well and surprised you some, whether it was performance or?
Newcomers to Bar McLennan, not a surprise. We've seen that from him through spring football and fall camp. Came out and had a big game for us. Did a tremendous job. In the offensive line, obviously 4 starters did a decent job. Derek Lawson, thought he ran the football extremely hard. Had one big run for a key play for us. Secondary, all those guys have been in games before, but they were in new roles. I thought they communicated fairly well. Ryan Wilbur did a great job for us on kickoff. We sky kicked more than we want to for the rest of the season, but we were trying to keep the ball away from a couple of guys that can really get it done back there for their kick return team. And that's really all the newcomers that played, probably.
How big a difference does it make having a kicker that can kick the ball deep like that?
Oh, it's huge. It's huge for your football team. And we've had great competition going through fall camp. We didn't decide who was going to kick off until after pregame warm-up. They competed during 3-game warm-up, charged their kicks. Was out there watching them and made a decision.
Any other questions, guys? All right, appreciate y'all coming out.
Yep,
Sorry for-
appreciate y'all.
We'll try to do better next week.